Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the CFMWS session on researching and applying to post-secondary institutions in Canada. This presentation is for grade 11 students who are in the research process, and especially for grade 12 students who are graduating this year and are further along in the research process or are ready to begin their applications. And parents are always welcome. My name is Elisa Hanrahan, and I am a guidance counselor with Military Family Services Guidance Counseling Program. Our team is based in Ottawa, and we are made up of 2 guidance counselors and an administrator. My co-counselor is Andrea Smith, and she is also the senior manager of the MFS Guidance Counseling Program. Our wonderful administrator is Kayla Tarnaski. Our job is to support all CAF families with their guidance counseling needs, whether they are in CAN or out CAN. I'll show you how to get hold of us at the end of the presentation. I'll give you a little overview of the topics that I'm going to talk about this evening. I'll talk about the research process and about the different offerings at Canadian colleges and universities. I'll also talk about applications and some of the things that out-CAN students need to consider. And I'll talk a little bit about financing your post-secondary education. But an important thing to note is that the guidance counseling team has created some reference guides to help you with the research and application process. We have a guide for out-CAN students who are applying to colleges in Canada, and a guide for out-CAN students who are applying to universities in Canada. And we have a reference guide that discusses the various ways of financing your post-secondary education. It's a scholarship page. So whereas I'm going to speak about these topics in some detail this evening, you can learn more about these topics in much greater detail by using our reference guides. You can access the guides on the cafconnection.ca website, and I'll give you more details at the end of the presentation. First, let's talk about the different pathways that you might take after you finish high school. As you are nearing the end of high school, you have probably learned quite a lot about the sorts of studies that interest you and your strengths and needs. Your current high school guidance counselor can be a helpful resource if you still need help identifying these interests. In Canada, students may decide on entering the workforce directly after high school, or they may be interested in learning a trade via an apprenticeship program. If you are a grade 12 student who would like advice on apprenticeships in Canada, you can contact me or my partner, Andrea, for help. Other students will decide on pursuing their studies at a Canadian college or university. So, what's the difference? If you are currently attending a US curriculum school while out CAN, you have probably heard the word college used interchangeably with university. This is because in the US, people often use the word college to mean university, whereas in Canada, the 2 words represent different types of institutions. Canadians refer to universities, whereas Americans might say university or college. When Canadians refer to college, we are speaking about the institutions that Americans refer to as community colleges. In Canada, colleges tend to be smaller institutions, and their emphasis is on preparing students for the workforce. Canadian colleges keep a very close eye on where the jobs are in Canada and where the jobs are growing, and they develop training programs that respond to those workplace needs. So Canadian colleges are very good at keeping current and providing students with cutting-edge skills, often in excellent lab facilities. Students who attend college can complete a 1-year certificate if they are still in the exploration page of learning what they might like to do. For example, a student who thinks they might be interested in a health field, but isn't quite sure yet, or isn't quite ready to commit to longer studies could do a one-year introductory program in health studies. The majority of students who attend college pursue a 2 or 3-year diploma. For example, you could complete a college diploma in early childhood education, in computer programming, in business accounting. This diploma would allow you to enter the workforce directly afterwards. You can also add a year of study to this and complete a 3-year diploma that would give you more expertise. So for example, you could complete a 2-year diploma in computer programming and add a 3rd year of a specialty in network security. An important thing to know about college pathways is that they are designed with the workplace in mind as the final destination. So they're very practical in nature. And if you are the sort of student who thrives in an environment where the learning is more applied and real world in nature, this might be a good route for you. Another thing to note about college and universities, students can often complete university programs, but on a college campus. More and more colleges and their partner universities are offering this pathway, especially in technical areas where the college campus offers state-of-the-art laboratory environments. Universities tend to offer a more abstract, theoretical approach to learning. Students going to university will typically complete a 4-year degree program, but it is important to note that university degree programs are not necessarily designed with specific jobs in mind. When it comes to the workplace, however, universities have made significant changes over the years. For example, you might consider applying to a degree program that offers co-op placements. This means that a student attends classes for a semester, then goes to a work placement for a semester, and so on. A co-op degree may take longer than 4 years to complete, but a student will finish their degree having earned money, having learned practical job-related skills, and having developed a network of professional contacts. When you complete a university degree, you may choose a major subject to study and a minor one as well. And some students, such as students who want to become teachers, may have the option of pursuing 2 degrees at once, such as a BA and a BEd, which is a degree in education. And that's called a concurrent degree program. So some students are interested in university, but they may feel that coming straight out of high school, they're more ready for the applied nature of college studies. There's another important pathway to know about. Most colleges have agreements called articulation agreements with partner universities. These agreements are special. They allow a student to start their post-secondary career at a college where they can earn a 2-year diploma, and then the student can apply to university in a related field. And the agreement allows the student to pursue a university degree program afterward, but without starting in the first year. The university grants the student credits based on the college diploma that the student has earned. So for example, a student could complete a college diploma in early childhood education and then continue at university pursuing a degree in childhood and youth studies, but without starting at the first year. So this is a fantastic way for students to gain industry experience via a diploma and gain theoretical knowledge via a degree, and to do it at their own pace. This can be a great fit for lots of students. And if you would like to know more about this pathway, you can connect with us at the MFS Guidance Counseling team. So where can you go to research the different college and university programs that are out there? So the answer depends on your province. As the province with the largest population, Ontario has more colleges and universities than other provinces, but there's an easy way to research college and university programs in Ontario. Students interested in college programs can start at ontariocolleges.ca. It has a browsing feature that links you to all the Ontario colleges. And there's a similar way to research Ontario universities. Students can go to Ontario Universities info.ca to explore programs at all of Ontario's universities, as well as costs and scholarships. Students who are interested in British Columbia's colleges and universities can start with this website, educationplannerbc.ca. And students who are interested in Alberta's colleges and universities can start at alice.alberta.ca. And students who are interested in learning about other college and university programs can either go straight to the institution's website, or they can start their college and university study, research process at collegesinstitutes.ca or at univcan.ca. So at this point, most students who are tuning in tonight probably have some definite ideas about the sort of program that they are interested in and the college or university that offers it. So let's talk a bit about the application process. And a reminder that you can learn more about the process in detail by referring to our application guides. Students who are applying to college in Ontario must do so by using the application portal at ontariocolleges.ca, which is the same site that they can use for the research process. Students can apply for a maximum of 5 college programs in Ontario, with no more than 3 of these programs at any one Ontario college. And students pay a flat fee of $95. Students who are applying to university in Ontario must do so using the Ontario Universities Application Centre. We call that the UAC. Students pay a flat fee of $156 for 3 programs. They can pay for additional programs and can apply for as many as they like. They cost $50 per additional program, but no more than 3 programs can be at any one university. Of note, students who are applying to Ontario universities from within Ontario, they use the 101 application. But students who are applying from out CAN use the 105 application. Students applying to BC colleges and universities can do so with educationplannerbc.ca. The service is free, but students will be charged individual application fees by the colleges or universities later. Students applying to Alberta colleges and universities can do so using applyalberta.ca. This service is also free, and each college and university will charge its own application fees. Some universities may ask for a student who's out CAN to apply directly, but some may say, no, we want everybody to use applyalberta.ca. And students who are applying to colleges and universities in other provinces or territories should apply to each institution directly. So there are some important things for out-CAN students to know when they're applying to Canadian and colleges and universities from out-CAN. It is important to remember that you are not applying to a post-secondary institution as an international student. As Canadians, you are domestic students who are applying with high school transcripts from international schools. You should be charged domestic student application fees and eventually domestic student tuition fees. Some of you at American curriculum schools may also note that your classmates are writing SAT or ACT exams as preparation for university applications. Most Canadian universities and colleges do not require SAT or ACT scores, but some do. especially university programs that are considered more competitive, such as those at the University of Toronto. If you are attending a US curriculum school now, and you are interested in a competitive program in Canada, you may be advised to write the SAT, ACT tests. You can find out if you need to by visiting the individual test website. Applying to Canadian post-secondary institutions requires very little preparation. This is because the vast majority of institutions only require your grade 11 and grade 12 marks. And really, it's mostly your grade 12 marks. Of importance, no essays are required for application to Canadian colleges and universities. Many Canadian students who are graduating from international schools may note that their friends who are applying to US institutions are working on essays and are building a portfolio listing extracurricular activities. This is the requirement of US universities, but not Canadian ones. For the most part, only your grade 12 marks will be considered by Canadian post-secondary schools, sometimes your grade 11 marks. Queen's and UBC require a personal statement of experience, but these universities are an exception to the rule. So it's quite rare that you have to provide anything other than your marks. Some of you may be taking advanced placement or international baccalaureate courses and be wondering how the universities will interpret them. Don't worry, the university admissions offices are well acquainted with these courses and will interpret them according to standards set out by the institutions. In many cases, students can expect to be offered a university credit ahead of time for having completed an IB or AP course with good results. So there are more things you need to know. So for example, acceptance to Canadian universities and colleges is always conditional on your final marks. This means that you will be offered a placement, but it is only a firm offer when your final marks are reviewed. This is a reminder that you should keep up your effort right until the end of the school year. Some more advice: try to be as organized as possible as you apply to university or college. Keep all your documentation and emails in a safe place. Remember that while you may use a variety of social media, universities and colleges tend to communicate with prospective students via email only. So check your inbox on a regular basis and check your spam box to make sure you are not missing anything important. And a note about deadlines. Typically, colleges and universities in Canada don't have strict deadlines for students applying from outside of Canada, whereas the deadlines are stricter for students applying from within Canada. This doesn't mean that you should be too relaxed about your application, however. So here's my rule of thumb when it comes to applying to college or university. I recommend that you be in the research phase by early fall. By mid to late fall, I recommend that you send in your applications. I like to see students complete their applications before the winter break for a couple of reasons. For one, it gives you plenty of time to deal with follow-up requests from the universities, like providing transcripts that have been evaluated by a transcript evaluation agency, for example. But also, I like for my students to enjoy their winter break and ring in the new year, knowing that they have achieved a major milestone. In the early winter, students should watch for communication from the colleges and universities in case there are additional documents to provide. Students can expect a conditional offer of acceptance anytime from December to May. They will need to accept the offer by the beginning of June, usually, and will generally need to provide a down payment on tuition and residence fees by early June. So there's even more things you need to know if you're out, Can. It will be necessary to send your school transcript to the school of your choice, and you may have to do this more than once because the school will need your partially completed marks during the school year and your final marks at the end of the school year. Each college and university will have its own requirements for sending your documentation. So you will need to make note of the method of sending your marks and any deadlines. Some universities may ask you to have a transcript evaluated by a transcript evaluation agency as well. And this is a way of a university or college being sure that your transcript is verified. Not many universities will require this, but a few will. So a note about fees. I recommend that you keep all your receipts. And this is because you may have to pay some fees that go above and beyond the application fees that you would have to pay if you were applying from within Canada. These extra fees may be reimbursable. So for example, the cost of writing the SATs or the cost of having an international transcript evaluated, those are fees that are reimbursable. So the topic of tuition and application fees brings us to the final topic of this presentation, which is financing your post-secondary education. This is really a huge topic, so, and I could speak about it at length, but I'm just going to highlight a few important ideas for you tonight. So first of all, many graduating students can expect that their families will be helping to fund part of their post-secondary education. And that's not really something that I'll talk about here. But there are some other sources of funding that I'd like to bring to your attention. So there are entrance scholarships. There are school, faculty, department-based scholarships. There are community scholarships, loans, and grants. First of all, it's important to know the difference between a grant or a bursary and a scholarship. So grants or bursaries are financial awards that are allocated based on a student's need, such as financial need. And scholarships are financial awards that are based on a student's merit in a given area, such as academic achievement or community involvement. So an important source of scholarship money is the University Entrance Scholarship. I find that not all OutCan students know about this form of a scholarship, so I want to draw your attention to it. This is an automatic scholarship that is awarded to students who are applying with good marks. For example, if you apply to the University of Ottawa with a grade 12 average of 80%, the university will award you with $1,000. This award is attributed automatically to your tuition fees. So it's basically like getting $1,000 discount on your tuition fees. So basically what I often tell my students is this: your marks are your money. This is the most straightforward way to earn a scholarship. Earn competitive marks and enjoy the benefit of this. There are a few important things to consider when it comes to entrance scholarships. Not every university offers them, although many do, and many are quite generous. The most competitive universities, such as McGill, Queen's, and U of T, don't offer them. But many universities offer generous entrance scholarships, and some colleges do as well. Another thing to consider: domestic students who apply with foreign transcripts are usually entitled to entrance scholarships. So this is where you may want to communicate directly with an admissions officer to determine whether you are eligible and to remind the admissions office that you're a domestic student who is interested in the automatic entrance scholarship. So there are other sorts of scholarships that may interest you. So beside entrance scholarships, I tend to put other scholarships into two categories. The first category is university or college funded scholarships. These are different from entrance scholarships because you have to actively apply for them. Some of these scholarships may be specific to the university or college faculty or department that you're applying to, whereas others may be open to all first-year students across the school. You can look for these scholarships on the individual college and university websites, or you can go to Ontario University's info.ca in the case of Ontario University scholarships. The other main category of scholarships is community scholarships. These are scholarships that students can apply to based on merit and often based on belonging to a certain community. Some are scholarships that are open to all Canadian students, whereas others may be open only to the dependents of CAF members, such as you, for example. A good example would be the European Fund Academic Program. This is a scholarship of up to 500 euros for students graduating from high school in Europe. Another example is the Support Our Troops National Scholarship Program. For a complete list of scholarships, you can visit the Children's Education Management section of the cafconnection.ca website. And a final bit of advice about scholarships. This is where an essay can really come in handy. I recommend writing a basic essay outlining your accomplishments, both academic and extracurricular, and adapting the essay to meet the criteria of each scholarship. Another important source of potential funding is federal and provincial student aid. Each province and territory has a student aid program, and you apply to the program of the province or territory in which you were last a resident for at least 12 months. In case you're not sure how this works, students fill out an application to their provincial or territorial student aid program to see if they would qualify for a loan of money, that's money you have to pay back, or for a grant, and that's money you don't have to pay back. Many students don't bother doing this because they feel that they won't qualify for any aid, or because they don't want to borrow money to fund their education. But there are actually a few really good reasons to fill out the application. So for one, some families are surprised to learn that their students actually qualify for some free money. And the only way you can find this out is to apply. And two, just because you qualify for a loan does not mean you have to accept a loan. Applying just means that you find out what you qualify for, either in terms of a loan or a grant. And then three, in most provinces, students who have a permanent disability may qualify for a grant. This means that students with a learning disability, for example, or autism spectrum disorder may qualify for free money to help them with their schooling. They can use the money to buy a laptop, for example, or to pay for assistive technology or note-taking assistance. But the only way to access this free money is by applying to the student aid program in the first place. Again, you're not obliged to accept any loans, but this is the way to find out if you can access the grant. So I think it's worth the short amount of time that it takes to apply. Finally, if you are heading to Canada for school, you may like to use a budgeting tool to learn about the various costs of post-secondary life. Here is one that I like to suggest to students. It's provided by the Financial Consumer Agency of Canada, and you can find it on the Government of Canada website. So a reminder that you may want to take a look at our application reference guides. You can find them on the Educational Tools page of the Children's Education Management section on cafconnection.ca, and the link is here. And just so you know how to get hold of us, here's our contact information. If the last name of your CAF member parent falls between A and K, then your guidance counselor is my co-counselor, Andrea Smith. She's the senior manager of the guidance counseling service. And if your CAF member parent's last name falls between L and Z, then I am your guidance counselor. So I hope this presentation has helped to clarify the post-secondary research and application process for you. I'd like to thank you. And at this point, we will proceed to the question and answer session.